Welcome, everybody.
What's going on, everybody?
How's it going? I'm on Instagram waiting on you.
Here I come. Here I come. I'm waiting
How
for
you
the
guys
load.
doing? Hey, welcome. Make sure your volume's down.
You know you're gonna be the star tonight. I ain't
Oh,
even get to talk about my yesterday.
Hi,
um,
everybody. Welcome to the Crossroads Live.
my
Another month.
my mouth all swelled up.
How many times I tell him to turn his volume down? You guys are my witness.
I had turned it down, and then when I log on, it be going back up.
Okay, if this Instagram is trash, we are not going to be on here. I'll just say that. It's a whole lot of feedback over there. So it's not.
That's on your end. I don't hear nothing.
I know you can hear it. I'm saying if that's the way it sounds to the people, I don't want that.
Oh, I mean, okay.
I know you could hear that. All right, Instagram, if you guys are having a bad experience, please join us over either on our Facebook page or on YouTube. We're trying to go live from as many places as possible so that no matter where you are, you have
Oh,
an
I know what
experience
the
with
problem
us.
is. I don't have my headphones on.
He knows more than me. I tell y'all, I was saying like something's
My bad.
like Keith Sweat, something
Listen,
just ain't right.
I only look perfect. Okay.
Stylish stitches. Are you still getting feedback? Because again, we don't want.
Let us know, IG, if we getting feedback.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can put my headphones on for good measure, so we can be friends.
It hurts to smile.
Wait, did you go to the dentist or something?
I did.
Oh, Jesus. You probably should have said something.
I've been in bed
Okay, it
all
just
day.
stopped. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
probably
because
because he
it was
didn't
coming
have.
because I
Go
didn't have
ahead.
my headphones on.
Okay. All right.
I was wrong.
Indeed. Well, let's go ahead and get the party started. For those of you, this is your first time. We want to welcome you. Go ahead and kick us off, Brother Bars.
So for those who don't know how we start the show, it goes like so. What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Hunter Grand, your personal agent for change, making life easy, Barzini.
And I'm Fempreneur Extraordinaire and Tech Diva all day, Dre Renee.
And this is the Crossroads, where there's only one rule.
Be free to be you. Now, let me tell you something funny that happened just last night. So, yesterday, honestly, the middle of the week is the hardest time of the week for me. I'm trying out this whole 3-day work week type situation. So, really, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I press in so that I can have more free time the other days. So, I was on my last meeting of the evening last night and, was trying to get some tech stuff going. And somebody was like, "Oh, Tech Diva all day." I said, "You know what? I should probably change that to Tech Diva half day because I'm
Everybody.
tired." They're like,
Tech,
"Oh no, it's not gonna sound the same." I was like, "I don't know. I might need to insert that one time, like Tech Diva half day."
well, you're still tech diva all day. Just because you're not working, don't mean you're not the tech diva.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot, the
It's tech,
responsibility is tough.
right? I mean, it's you got to be in character.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
and the beauty of it is they don't know your work week. They just know when they get scheduled.
Whew.
So if you can make 3 days look like 7, shit, I
Yeah.
ain't mad at you because I ain't mastered that yet.
God
The way
bless.
I had to take a mental health day today.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Every now and again, we all need, we need that downtime. We need that downtime. So, welcome, everybody. Thank you for those of you who are joining us for the backstage pass. We call it the backstage pass because, you get to see kind of like the raw footage, what
Right.
it really looks like to get it together. But if you want the more polished experience, complete with all the bells and whistles, please join us over on Facebook at The Crossroads or on YouTube at The Crossroads. You can find us using the Crossroads on all social media platforms as well. So
Yeah, we hooked y'all up because before it was just Facebook, but now you know what I'm saying. We
look,
didn't
the experience.
wherever you want to go, just know IG is the backstage pass. So
Absolutely.
again, if you're on IG, this is the backstage pass. Head over to Facebook. The link for those who are following me, the link is on my personal page, also our Crossroads fan page. And if you haven't joined our Crossroads community on Facebook, we're live there as well. But you can find us on YouTube at the Crossroads.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you can
Okay.
interact with us. You can interact with us on IG, but it's like we see that later. But if you interact via Facebook or YouTube, you're gonna see it a lot faster. And if you want to come on and join the conversation, we're gonna let you do that too. So we looking for some interaction, y'all. Y'all say it, but we're gonna see if y'all gonna do it tonight.
Right. Right. We absolutely want to talk to you. That's why we do the live stream once a month. So you can catch us here on the first Thursdays of every month. We're going to recap some of your favorite episodes of the month prior, or any of your favorite episodes, that you want to talk about. And then as well as any news that's going on current day, because we pre-record our episodes, we don't always get a chance to talk about the things that are happening right as they happen. So that's another reason why we do these live streams, to connect with you, to hear from you, and to talk about what's going on in real time.
And I want to give a quick shout out to my god baby who was listening in a second ago when she heard my voice. God baby, she just posted Ryan. So if Ryan, if you listen,
that sounds like my Jason. Oh,
what's going on, God baby? It is your Jason. How you doing?
Yes.
She just had a birthday.
Belated happy birthday.
Yes. So listen, they had the time of times. I need to take notes on how to do my birthday next time. I want to do.
That was an extravaganza. Okay.
Listen, turning 7, and at my age, I want to go do all the stuff she did.
I love it.
So happy birthday, Ryan and Avery Jean.
And Avery. AJB in the building. So, BG3 in the building.
So where are we starting this month?
Man, this month was last month was quite a bit going on. So for the April episode, we actually had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 5 episodes in the month of April.
Ooh,
a long month.
I guess
maybe that's what it was.
I wasn't even counting. That's we didn't even talk about that in pre-production.
Yeah. I just happened to look through like,
okay,
we did a lot.
I guess we'll start from the beginning, shall we?
Yeah. So we're gonna throw out some titles for you. We understand some of you listen week to week, like you're on top of it. As soon as the rooster crows, or maybe not even the rooster, because we release our episodes at midnight, but you know what I mean. As soon as the episode drops, you are listening, or you listen somewhere on launch day. And then there are some of you who like to binge, and you wait a couple of weeks and then you watch or listen back to back to back. But in the month of April, we talked about love languages, which was definitely a popular episode. We talked about safe spaces, having safe spaces in our relationships. We talked about the business of love. That was episode 21. And then we got into mental health and relationships with a part 1 and 2. So that's what gave us 4 and 5 for last month. So hopefully those topics kind of jogged your memory. If not, I can give you a little. I'll throw you a little pass if there's something that you don't remember. But for those of you who have watched those episodes, or you've listened to those episodes, we want to know which ones were your favorites, and we'll talk a little bit about each of them, but we don't want to give too much away because, of course, we want you to check them out for yourself. So let's start with love languages, which definitely was one of our favorites and a fan favorite.
Yeah, that was. And I think the interesting thing was kind of like exploring personal love languages and talking about how normally we talk about how we receive love when we're talking love languages, but we also jumped into how we express love. And then we talked about doing what's easy versus doing what our partner needs in the relationship. And I think that was a super interesting aspect of the conversation, and an important one, because we tend to do what's comfortable rather than to do what's necessary in and for the relationship often. So getting into that it was pretty fun. Oh, I'm messing up my camera situation over here on IG. Sorry, IG people. So yeah, and I think what's also fun about our conversations, and when we're doing the episodes, we often start unpacking things that we didn't think about before. So that was real helpful. Then we talked on today's episode that launched today, we kind of talked about a conversation that I was having where I had some revelations like mid conversation. So doing these episodes and talking through these things, we're not just doing it for the listeners, but also ourselves. We learn a lot from and about each other during these conversations. So I always think that that's dope.
Absolutely. And Maisha, if you're still on here, you definitely got to shout out that episode for sharing the book that actually made the clip that we used to promote the episode. So shout out to you.
The DNA of relationships. I don't even know if she remembers, but it was the DNA of relationships.
The DNA of relationships. And so that would have been episode 19. So if you need a reference, go to episode 19 for love languages.
Right. So what was your thoughts?
Yeah, she said, woo, woo. Yeah, that was.
Oh, she does remember. She don't remember.
Look, maybe it's just getting the shout out. I don't know if she she remembers or if she's celebrating getting the shout out. But either way,
she need to go on and log on. That's what she need to do.
I definitely put the link in there. So for anyone who would like to be on camera with us, and of course, this is only for actually you'll only be able to see it if you're watching us via YouTube or Facebook. Again, IG, I want to call you guys Crossroads. IG, you are Backstage Pass. So if you want to see us and any visitors that we might have throughout the evening, then you want to go ahead and hop on Facebook or YouTube. You can find the link in our bio there. For anybody that can see the link to join in on Facebook or YouTube, please go ahead and hit that link. We'll be happy to let you in. If you want to talk about love languages or any of the other topics that we're going to review from our most previous episodes, our most recent episodes.
Yep.
Now, I paid a lot of money to a counselor to go through that book. Well, you just blessed a whole lot of people. So your investment was not in vain. I loved it. I was like, I might need to pick up the book. But if not, I mean, that one part I think was so very clear and, something that anybody can get if they want to get it. Like, if you don't want to get it, then there's that.
Yeah. I think I need to go through and see if I still got the damn book. Because that can be something we unpack on the show, and then have Maisha on to unpack it with us and talk about the experiences that she wants to share as well.
Oh, okay. Should look into apology languages soon. So I actually brought up yesterday to Bars that we should really tackle an episode on forgiveness. And so maybe that can, go hand in hand or be a part 1 and 2. Because I know that's something that quite a few people.
That's a struggle. And some people think that they've forgiven and truly haven't. I think some people say the words and I think consciously they believe they've forgiven, but their actions and their lifestyle does not reflect that. Excuse me. So I think that would be something very interesting to unpack and tackle. And for those that are watching, also let us know some episodes that you want to see and things that you want to hear about. Put them in the comments and in the chat, and we'll definitely add those to the list of topics to the show. So, we got one. That one might be dope. Yeah.
Hey, Charity, welcome. All right. So, I mean, you guys don't be shy. It's so funny. So the episode that we did not ask for anybody to join us on camera, then I got text like, I thought you guys were going to, like, I was ready tonight. So, look, now.
Yeah.
It's like we can't win for losing. We don't ask, you ready. Every week or every month we ask, you don't want to be bothered. So
Yeah.
we definitely love to hear from you and interact with you directly. So
Mhm.
don't be a stranger. The link is already posted. I'll post it periodically so that you can click on it and come on through. So episode 20, safe spaces. Safe spaces.
That one was real interesting too. Because that's always a topic that just constantly comes up. And I want to know what y'all think about safe spaces. I always, of course, speak from the male point of view, but I think safe spaces need to be afforded to both men and women in relationships. But I know that there's a lot of men that believe that they don't have safe spaces to communicate how they truly feel. And some of the things that we unpacked was talking about, like when men are feeling anything outside of anger or happiness, those things aren't readily received and or expressed because of fear of the stigma, being called, sensitive, or God forbid, a bitch in those times. So what are y'all thoughts around safe spaces, being able to express yourself, either man or woman, in a
Mhm.
relationship? And do you feel on for your respective gender that safe spaces are afforded to you in relationships? So let us know your thoughts and your experiences there as well.
Yeah, and often we as women, we really want men to express themselves to us, and so we really talked about, in that episode how sometimes we don't necessarily foster the best environment for that particular safety and those truths, and what we can do to recognize when the men in our lives don't necessarily feel safe, and or when they may have shut down as a result. So it was definitely an eye opener. I think if I can remember correctly, it took me really to the end of the episode to go, it's like, I don't get it. Just open your mouth and say what you say.
Well, sometimes it's a journey. That's why.
Thank God my
Um,
journey only takes an hour sometimes. Okay.
Listen, it takes years for some. I had to switch my cameras up because I didn't like this other little stand I was using on IG. So
Okay.
again, for the people over there on IG today, but a few of y'all head over to Facebook or YouTube. That's where the experience is happening. YouTube, IG is our backstage pass for our IG fans, but we just want to include everybody. But for the real experience, remember, come over here to Facebook at the Crossroads Podcast, or the Crossroads on YouTube. You can find the links in our bios. But so yeah, so if you feel like it takes you the hour or whatever, just in those feelings, I imagine, because we're having those conversations, but you're having this conversation with someone who you're not in a relationship with, right? So
Hmm.
so do you think that it's more difficult to hear the messaging while you're in the relationship, or maybe sometimes that's why it's missed because you're in the relationship? And I think oftentimes we're trying to be heard and listen simultaneously. Like, I don't know, what do you think the breakdown of the barrier is when it comes to safe spaces and communication?
Um, well, I think the first thing is not being clear that the person that you're with doesn't feel safe. Because I think in a past episode, I think that was the live where we wound up like fighting. Where because I was saying, like, if we're new, right? We haven't had a fight or blow up or whatever. How do I know that you have this kind of feeling? Like, you might be dealing with something that's like a pile up from a previous relationship or previous relationships. Maybe it was
Mhm,
something that I did, but if I'm not aware of it, how do I know how to navigate it? And I think it was when you were saying, like, the reason why we respond that way is because we've said it before, even if we
mhm,
haven't said it before, something like that. And I was like,
mhm,
no, what if this is the first time and we
mhm.
we were not
We were not aligned.
we were not aligned. That one took me longer than an hour. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's the first thing, is it's like, uh women, we need to be very cognizant of the fact that we are, in most cases, dealing with our opposites on certain
Mhm,
things. Like, A lot of things, I think we assume that you see it like we see it because we're the same type of people, right? Like me and you are the same type of people. So if we were in a relationship, it feels like, he would see things my way because when we normally talk about people, we're on the same side. Or when something happens, we're on the same side. Well, why is he not on my side? And that I think is hard. Like our personalities might be aligned, or certain things that we think about other people or other situations might be aligned. But when we are head to head, there are things that we don't see alike. And it's not because it's not necessarily malicious. It's just your makeup is different than my makeup genetically or biologically. And that I think is it's definitely a barrier that we don't often realize. We just want you to get it, or you guys want us to get it.
Right. I dig that. Shout out to my round CJ's in the building. What's going on, CJ? Um, no, I definitely hear you. And just to your point, like you were saying, it's like when you align in so many different areas, I think you forget the areas that you aren't the same. So it's like when we talk about social issues, it's like we're both black, we relate. When
Mm-hmm.
we can talk about Greek issues, we're both Greek, so we understand, we relate.
Yeah.
um we're both, artists, we're both creatives, we're both entrepreneurs, like all these things, business and stuff. We've lived through the majority of each other's relationships. you know um and so we have all these conversations, and then it's kind of like, I'm a man and you're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
We are not the same.
We're not the same.
you know because there's issues that women face, in the world from men. And as a man, I'm not always going to see that. I'm not always going to, or I'm not going to see it or experience. I'm definitely not going to experience it, but then I
Mm-hmm.
don't see it. And so you can be sharing an experience and I'm kind of like, uh I don't get that. And then vice versa. But it's like I said before, yesterday, it was, or Tuesday rather, that revelation that we hear these things and we personalize them. you know
Mm-hmm.
like if a woman is sharing her experience with men tend to personalize it as if she's talking about him, and then will defend it, and vice versa, right? um and I think, and you know what, and we haven't gotten to this part yet, but I think that's the big polarizing thing when it comes to Kevin Samuels.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is, dude, like we just hear, like the narrative is, oh, he puts down women, he talks down to women, he breaks women down, blah 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 blah, and nobody ever addresses the fact that he talks to men too. you know but those aren't the clips that go viral. That's
I
what
was going to
people
say
pay
I
attention.
might miss those. I don't.
Exactly. And to be honest, when he started out, like he was only talking to men. Like he was like the image consultant for men and everything else. And then he started doing videos. He was talking to men first before women ever came in the picture. But
Mm-hmm.
then that one video that went viral, and all of a sudden he's this sensation slash villain. Um
And now I
and
guess he's doing what works for him. He's like,
right.
let me stick with
Yeah.
this.
And so when it comes to like the communication piece, or where the crossroads happens, I wonder, and y'all chime in on this. Here's my question, and I want to post this question too, and maybe we can unpack it another time as well. If you take away the way that he says things, all right, or certain things that he says, like take away the rating scale, right? Or take away like calling women average, or like, the, oh, what are you 1 through 10 and you can't use 7 type deal, and the sound effects that he used when he's insulting people. Like take all that away and just what he's saying, the facts that he's saying, right? Do you look at him differently? Can you accept what he's saying then? And I wonder if that's true. Like even if he didn't do all that stuff, because he's doing all that provocative stuff, that's for viewership. That's for
Mm-hmm.
um. But I wonder if he didn't do all that, would the message then be received? What do you think?
Um, no, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think the message will be received because, like I said, some people don't want to receive it. right? Like you're trying to give me something and I don't want it. It doesn't matter how well you package it or wrap it up or spray some Bath and Body Works on it or whatever. Like I don't want it. And at the end of the day, because honestly, I was giving him a watch last night in preparation, for tonight, and the bottom line that he was trying to get across was high value men, and the definition, if I can remember, I'll try to give you what points he laid out last night. But high value men have options, right? They have options. They're exercising these options. And as a woman, and presumably a regular woman, average woman, that's not necessarily high value yourself. If you want to step into this arena, you want this kind of man, this is what comes with it. And so the women spent their time arguing back and forth about, how, this is wrong. I have to settle for this just to have, a man that's doing well for himself or so on and so forth. And I guess the answer bottom line was yes, because you don't just want, an average man or a decent man or a man that can take care of his own needs and presumably yours too. You want somebody that's in the stratosphere as far as we're concerned. What was the percentage? 2%, especially for Black
1%
value. What was it?
1.
Okay, not even 2. 1%. So if you swinging for the fences, ma'am. And so he's saying, like, because these men are so few and far between, and they know that you're after them like this, they have all these options. This is what you have to deal with. And he asked one woman, what makes you think you deserve this type of man? And she said, and I had to, God bless her, she's only 24. But I laughed after she said it because I was like, they don't give a shit about that. She said, well, I would honor him and cherish him and support him and help him to be the very best he could be. And he was like, you don't think he's already the best he could be or good,
he's because that's why you want him.
And I was like, sis.
And that's the crazy part, because I just on the panel conversation, I brought that up because I brought up the point of when I ask women, like, we can laundry list the things that are required of men that women want, right? And it's all transactional. You see what I'm saying? He's got to make this type of money, or he's got to pursue, he's got to call you, be interested, ask you out, pay for the day, open doors, pull out chairs, all this stuff in the relationship. He's got to protect, he's got to provide, he's got to be an emotional support, like just all these things. But every time I ask, what do women do? It's always non-transactional. It's nothing that takes time and sweat equity. There's like, oh, well, I'll support him. What does that even look like? Right.
I was like,
what does
he probably thinking about what makes him money. He likely has that taken care of, support staff or infrastructure or whatever is necessary. So I guess, she's talking about in the household, like, it wasn't very clear, but to me, it sounded like I'm just going to be a good woman.
Right. But we ain't even got to the household yet. Like, start with the dating part, because you're not even in my household. And a lot of them will be like, well, I'm not doing this until you, my man, or until we married. So what's the lead up? What am I getting until then? And I really hate when they use sex, because you act like he's the only one benefiting. You know what I'm saying? And that goes like to that tweet that Game put out, was like, oh, like, what kind of man want to go half on the rim? Like, she giving you half of the pussy. I'm like, am I giving her half of the dick? Like, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying?
God, and this is a good place.
And at my age, women's sexual peak, y'all want it more than we do right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the actual, like, we want sex in general, but in the actual session, most dudes is one and done, maybe two. You know what I'm saying? I know, and we talk that shit. We talk that all night marathon section. Like, stop. knock it off. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me one good one and move. I'm going to sleep. I catch
And,
you on the rebound. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like, I'll make it worth your while. you know, but I don't know what I got for you after that. Because if it's
I'm
good, I'm
done.
going to
I'm done.
if it's good, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
That's half the reason why I do it. I got trouble sleeping.
So sleep aid.
Man, listen, if she got that melatonin, let's go.
You got that milk.
Right. Exactly. CJ filmed me, he was like two tops. You know what I'm saying?
Two
So
tops.
because
Yes.
depending on when the last time we did it, I might have the first one might, if she's inhaled back this time, the first one, like, look, sleep. That's what it is. So it just baffles me how the women that go on Dude's show, um, they can outline and laundry list the things that they want. He got to be this, he got to be that, he got to be this, he got to be that. But yet we can't do it. Like they come from this approach that he has to do something to deserve her. But what are you really coming with that matches him? Right? Because most
Mhm.
women, when you're talking about a dude, let's talk even just financially. Most women say he's got to make as much as me or more. Right? Like seldom is the sentiment less. Now, to women's credit, I know many women that date men that make less money, right? They are out there, and there are women that are willing to date men that like most women that I know. It's like you got to be doing something.
Mhm.
As long as I ain't got to take care of you, we straight, so we got to be fair, but that's not who we hear from.
Mhm.
The ones we hear from are he got to have this and this. And I just feel like those type of women are covering up for a lack of. They don't want to try, and then they see women like I've never understood how women will look at other women that do for men and then call them stupid. Oh, you did what? I wouldn't be doing that. Like, he ain't your man yet, or like we t- we trying to get there though, or he ain't married you yet, or whatever. And it's like that mindset of just wanting to receive, and I don't know, it's just crazy. I just don't understand how that's logical. She
Yeah.
said you don't hear that from her because there's no honor in our stand. It's honor among us, but maybe to the public and to the other women. I don't understand why it's cool to, and then we'll be mad if somebody calls somebody a gold digger.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. You talk partnership, where it's at.
Yeah. Eh, That's crazy. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of at a loss because I'm thinking of, several episodes where we've kind of, even different topics, it still kind of comes back to this same sentiment where, you're saying, hey, men are looking for something too,
Mm-hmm.
right? And not necessarily, or not at all really, the same things that women are looking for, but we don't seem to get what we want, but you
Mm-hmm.
guys get a chance to get what you are or demands.
Mm-hmm.
And I do see where that sounds unfair. But also, and you mentioned, there are women that are not, only looking for these things on the checklist, that they will meet a man. And you talked about some situations yourself, right? Like they'll meet a man that's not necessarily where he's meant to be or where he's going to be, and will be in relationship with him. And let's be real, like those are the ones that wind up acting a fool. You're like, here I go on the he has potential train, and you have
uh-huh.
potentially run me the F over. I'm just saying.
People that still. I'm sorry, I'm covering my mouth. My mouth just really hurts when I
Oh,
smoke a
sorry.
bit.
Your voice is having
my
him
mouth,
hurting.
my lips are swollen. My mouth is hurting. Um, yeah. So I mean, yeah, they do. I mean, because at the end of the day, people are still people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And no matter whether you date a man that's got the money or doesn't, there's still the issue of character that comes into play, because the reality is, whatever, making money doesn't make him a different type of man. It just amplifies the type of man he already is. You know what I mean? It makes that much louder.
Yeah.
So it's like,
No, I'm not saying. Look, I get it, Caleb. Right? Like nobody has to
CJ,
put
wait,
up.
CJ, you might as well just come on, bro. Are you like,
Yeah,
what's up?
nobody has to put up with anything. No one does. I'm just saying, if we're talking about why women are looking for a certain type of man, it might just be like, look, if I got to deal with the BS, at least I don't have to take care of you on top of that. Like, I don't,
Mhm.
it's like there needs to be
Right,
something. You're going to be acting a fool. I'm not going to pay you or pay for you to act a fool.
right.
But I definitely understand how you feel. No, you don't have to put up with anybody's potential on the other side
So
either.
why
But
do
that's
why is
hard.
it?
Like, yeah, if you don't want to uh completely x somebody out before you get a chance to really know them, like you're trying to give somebody a chance and you get burned,
Mhm.
like you mentioned, like there's still a person first. And I guess what so many people are trying to figure out is like, how do I miss that? How do I miss those signs? Right? Like,
Because we in a
what should I
rush.
be looking for?
So it's like, okay, the thing is, people want to be loved. People want love. You know what I mean? And I don't, but social media and just the climate of today dictates that we act a certain way, that it's not cool to express that we want love. It's not cool to express that we're lonely. It's not cool to express that we're
And I
heartbroken,
hate
any
that.
of that. You know what I mean? And so we got to act like, you know what I'm saying, uh real ass bitch give a fuck about a nigga. We don't give a fuck about nobody. We don't love these hoes. All the like, but knock it off. You know what I'm saying? Because you're really miserable, and we put this stuff out. I'm unbothered, I'm this, I'm that, and we can't be honest with ourselves first, let alone the
That's
rest of the
good.
world, to say, hey, this is what I need. And so now, then, on top of the images that we have to put out about our lives and what we lie about, right? We come on these platforms and we say, life is great and we got all the answers and all the anecdotes to give people. Like, everybody's a motivational speaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, we don't really have the answers, because when you get with this one individual person, no matter what advice you get, the general advice, it don't matter, because this person that you get with might be different than any mold that somebody's going to give you advice on. And the things that you learned in one relationship and you tried, and, oh, I'll never do that again, then you come over here and it's a whole different set of rules, and it's a whole, this person got different love languages, they got different needs, they got the different setup, they got different past, they got different traumas, and you got to figure all that shit out from jump again. You know what I mean? And then, not to mention, let's say that works out, you got people in marriages right now, because we still don't stay the same, and you're going through life becoming different people in a marriage, and so now you're tasked with getting to know the person that you're with over again at this next stage of their life.
Yeah.
And it's constantly learning, and so the question then becomes, it's not whether or not you unbothered, or fuck these niggas or fuck these bitches, the shit that we use to mask our true desires, but are you up for the task?
Yeah.
Are you truly up for the task of what it takes to really do this shit? And I think if we're honest with ourselves, a lot of people would find out that they aren't. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so, Maisha says, I choose
I'm
to not be
laughing. Yes,
broke.
I see it. Look, you know your
Hey,
stuff. Okay,
and
I'm with
that,
it.
you know what? But that's real shit, because relationships and marriage is a business, and I think a lot of people think love is enough. Well, I love them. Like, nah, nigga, that shit is transactional, because
Mm-hmm.
love changes when bills aren't paid. I know, I've been there.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, and I think the it's you're not going to change as a person just because you get in a relationship or a marriage. Like it's not a switch that you flip. So if someone's broke, I don't think that's the end all be all, or it shouldn't be. I think it's more, okay, why are you broke? What's going on? Is this shit circumstantial? Is it mindset? Is it pattern of behavior? Is it lazy? Like what is it? Um, and so if I think when we take our time and really get to know people, broke or not, because also just because you got money, you need to research how this person got money.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Is it long dough or is it quick dough? Is it dough or is it dough for show? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, it's just more to it, and I just feel like rushing is never going to be advantageous. And I think for me in my dating life, it really takes women back when I tell them I don't date with intent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I say, because everybody's like, oh, like I'm dating with a purpose, I'm dating blah 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 blah, I'm like, okay, bet, cool. I don't. My only purpose in dating you is to get to know you, right? That is my purpose. I don't know you beyond that. I'm not, and that's why I say people say hello and start trying on last names. Like, how, yeah, I might think you're beautiful, and like, hey, can we exchange information and communicate, or things of that nature? But I don't have any intent with you because I don't know you. All I know is how you look, or what you post, or all this other madness. You see what I'm saying? But people have this expectation. If you asking for my number, then you need to be calling me this many times a day, or you need to just drop what you doing, then communicate with me, or you not interested. And we just got this template that we throw motherfuckers in after hello.
Well, is
Because
dating with intent, does that mean I intend to marry you? Or is dating with intent, I have an intention to move into that phase of my life, whether it's a serious relationship, it's a marriage, whatever. And if at any point in time I find that we are not compatible in that way, that this does not move forward. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, doesn't mean I'm a bad person, but my intention, and let's just say even further, right? Like, my intention is to be married and to have children and to, I don't know, build a business with my partner. Let's just say that. And so I meet you, and the first thing out your mouth, even though I think you're a great person, we're vibing, we're getting along, is I don't want children. Well, if my intention and your intention are not the same, what many people then do is, well, I'm gonna just rock with this situation until the next situation comes along, or I'm gonna rock with this situation and see if I can change this person's mind. And both are fail.
Well, yeah. Okay, think of it this way, because I often say this. People vet their friends more stringently than they vet their partners, right? And people in their relationship. When you and I met, we didn't interact for the first time and say, you know what? We should try to be best friends.
You're the one.
You're the one. Like, I think we should ride this thing 20-something years into the future. That didn't happen. As a matter of fact, you did not like me. Right? Given the circumstances.
I mean, not that I didn't like you. I definitely didn't think we'd be friends.
Right. You didn't think we'd be friends. And that it was because you didn't know me. Right? All you knew was that interaction. You see what I'm saying? But yet now, juxtapose that to relationships, right? We don't approach people for friendship. We don't approach people and say we're going to be best friends or we're going to be this. We don't do that. It's organic. We meet people, we interact, and then over time, one day you look up and damn, we best friends. Like, how did this, like, most people can't even trace the process by which it happened. It's literally, you just look up one day and you're like you are my
life.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? But we don't allow that to happen naturally with the relationship, and we expect this shit to be for. If this is a person we expect to share our life with, we come in, and because two people are attracted, all of a sudden at hello, we have expectations, and we think that that's logical. You see what I'm saying? You have to do this. So for me, no, my intent is to get. So if I had to backwards plan from marriage, right? I intend to marry the woman that I have fallen in love with, and our lives matched up, and we had all the right conversations and time spent and everything else. I intend to fall in love with the woman that I've spent enough time to get to know and I've developed romantic feelings for. I intend to develop romantic feelings for some woman that I have gotten to know and was attracted to. I intend to get to know this one, like the whole, you see what I'm saying? The just the whole thing. But we don't look at relationships like that. We rush it, and then we get mad when it doesn't work, and we want to read books and post memes and watch. Nigga, we listen to the motherfuckers is listening to Steve Harvey, right? We're literally turning to a comedian for for advice on love. And and to be honest, we love him and hate him depending on what he says that fits whatever narrative at the time, right? So as much as people want to ridicule Steve Harvey, the motherfucker book sold millions. That movie made millions. You see what I'm saying? And yet we're talking.
I mean, that still doesn't mean that people want to listen to it. Somebody does, but there's still people who
somebody listening
who don't. Know. Yeah, it's like some people do, and some people don't. But for that whole journey that you took us on, and I'm not in disagreement. I'm just posing the question: is that not is that not an intention? Did you not just lay out a path of what you intend to do? It's not an intended, right? Like not the person, but you have an intention for your life and your romantic journey.
I'm using the definition that people are using. Like folks are out here saying, I want to get married, and then they date for that purpose. I'm not dating for the purpose of getting married. I'm dating for the purpose of getting to know someone. I'm getting to know someone with the intent of gaining an attraction and information. I'm gaining attraction and information for the intent of one day falling in love. I'm falling in love with the intent of one day getting married. So my intention on every level is different. I'm not, hello, how you doing? My name's Barzini. Let's talk about getting married someday. Because that's what people are doing in action. We're not saying that, but that's how people are operating. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, if you ain't trying to get married one day, I don't even want to talk to you. I don't even want to get to know you. You're wasting time. I only want to interact and talk with people who want this, right? And we're skipping a whole lot of steps. And so when people ask, well, how come I've never been married, or how come I'm single? Because I'm not skipping steps. Right. You see what I'm saying? And the thing is, even with not skipping steps, a nigga's still getting it wrong in some areas. So imagine that. Like, you can get it wrong taking your time. So imagine what mistakes you make in rushing just because you want something.
Yeah. No, it all that all makes sense. I just am kind of popping in where I know, there's difficulty for some of our listeners or some people that, that follow us.
Shout out to my brother that he's on IG. Come over to Facebook, nigga.
What up, bro?
That's Blue. He not smoking the cigarettes no more. He vape now, but he don't know that he's a character on this show.
You still watching Game of Thrones?
Nah, he finished it actually. He finished it. Because that Game of Thrones journey was something. Yeah, boy, we talk about you a lot on this show. You don't know. You should tune in more often.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
we kind of delved into next episode, which was 21. That was the business of love. As a matter of fact, where, that was kind of a hodgepodge. We talked about hyphenating or not hyphenating your name for the woman anyway. Well, I think we actually talked about men.
No, listen, there's some men out there.
I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. I don't want to judge
a whole new world.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix my face. If you are a man that
wait. Okay. So you and hashtag boo, right? Hashtag boo pops the question, right? And y'all talking about all the logistics of marriage. Yes. What if he approaches you with the concept of he wants to hyphenate or take your name?
Yeah, he would never do that.
I know he would never. I'm just saying that's why it's a huge what if he wants to be hashtag boo McGee.
I wouldn't even know what to say.
Right. Would you be like, oh?
I think I would want to know why. Right. Like the only thing I could think of for somebody in that situation is like they literally want to completely disconnect from their family. Like maybe there's some sort of trauma or something, and they're like, I don't want this to move forward.
Okay,
Um,
but would that be the case for women? Is that what women are doing then?
you said would that be the case for women?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Maybe he
yeah, no,
just
I'm
wants.
saying for the man to ask that. Like I can't imagine a man would ask that unless he no longer wants to be connected to his
Well,
family.
let's say he was like, I got brothers. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna live on. They, you
It's
know,
going to, but he doesn't want to, and the potential for his children to be connected.
right. But his family line, his lineage doesn't die. He's got brothers. His brothers got sons. Like
Yeah, but that's
we
them. He's like,
right,
whatever y'all want to do, but I want to now be with my wife's family. That's
right.
crazy. I don't know.
I want to hear from the women on that one. Like,
Yeah,
if I'm
hyphenating. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't look at him different. I would just be confused, right? Like, what? You have to explain that to me. Hyphenating, if it's like, I want to join our families together and create, this new lineage, that would still be perplexing to me. But, I guess I'd be okay. I mean, you're not taking my name would still be my name. So I guess I would win there. I don't know. But yeah, exactly. I was going to say now, dads, mm-mm. Dad gonna be like, the whole hell? What is this about?
like, Daddy,
I'm not walking you down the aisle to this.
Daddy, he wants your name. He wants your name.
He gotta be like,
He want to
no,
carry
you don't even
on.
need a wedding. You just stay who you are. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's just that is what it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
but have you ever thought about that though? Like,
I've never thought about that's what I was just like, that's not my reality. I couldn't even like how would that conversation even go?
I don't know. I wouldn't
If I
ever
called
have
you
it.
and was like, hey, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't even believe me.
I wouldn't, but I'd be like, so nah, my first question, so what you say? I just need the reaction. I'm like, what did you do?
That is
You must
your first question.
listen. I was like, you must got a new move or something.
You're a mess. You're a mess.
You was in there doing the bird on the Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, you know. You got
something in the food, something.
I mean, but you got dudes that convert religion, start going to church, a whole lot of stuff. What's the name?
No, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that there are worse things to do. I just think it would be very, very odd, and that we want to know why. Like, absolutely why. I think before that, we would just take on another name. So I know same-sex couples that have merged their names, like half of your name and half of my last name, and create a whole new name type situation.
That's weird.
So if
I wonder how they, even those who don't do that, I wonder how they pick whose name they're gonna take. Is it rock, paper, scissors? Is it,
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is that suspect? We love that word suspect. Raquel, why is that suspect?
We want to know.
I mean, because and then I'm gonna challenge that narrative right there that is suspect is because you've been with him for however long. Y'all about to get married. He wasn't suspect, when you decided to get married. Now he's just saying, hey, I'm gonna take your name. Now he's suspect.
I would just want to know why. That the explanation is due. Okay, like,
and then so he says because I love you. And it doesn't matter what our name is as long as we're together. And I just want to prove that because I'm gonna take your name. Some shit he coming up with. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm Maisha. My dad's not gonna. I feel like I saw that on TV before.
But is it about your dad or is it about y'all?
No, it's not. I'm just saying that would be a very uncomfortable situation.
Does he get a say so?
It is my dad's last name. It's not, he gave it to me. So if you're like, oh, I want your
you can't have it.
you got to talk to Chuck. Like, I don't. It's not mine to give. How about that? That'll be my response.
Damn, really? It's not. So now we getting into the equality conversation and everything else. Why is it not your name? You put it on every document of your life.
I don't know. You asking me something that's blowing my head up. I'm like, I can't eat. Like, what?
Listen. As quick and witty as Dre. Right. I'm just pushing the narrative. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, okay, it's not your daddy's name, it's your daddy's name also. Because to say that it's his name, can he take it from you?
Can you take it from me?
Yeah. You know, let's say you piss your daddy off. He's like, give my name back. And you
no, but he had to give it, like, in our day, by signing the birth certificate, that's the giving, right? I mean, he could have been like, nah.
That depends on the mama you got, because some women put whatever name on it.
Oh shoot.
Well. So whatever. Okay, so he signs the birth certificate. Cool. He gave you the name. It is now yours, right? That's just like if he gave you a car. The car is now yours.
No, I get what you're saying. No, he cannot take my name from me. And yes, technically, I could pass it on. But the understanding, at least I believe that we have, is that if I'm going to pass it to anybody, it's somebody that's come through me, not somebody.
Hey,
somebody else.
I'm just saying. So, because to me, okay, look, and I don't know why I'm not advocating for it, but I'm just pushing the narrative because
I know. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just say this: have a baby out of wedlock, right? And you kept your name because you're not married, and you give the baby, you know what I'm saying, your name. You and your baby got the same last name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's a son. The son gets married. It's like. What? And he's like, oh, well, I'm gonna take your name because I really didn't have a paternal name in the first place. I had my mama name. That's my granddaddy name. That's not even my daddy name. So I can't pass on the legacy anyway.
Yeah. We know that's not gonna happen in your household. It's not happening in my household.
Nah, listen. It's definitely not.
You going and call me talking about you gonna be Jason Johnson or something.
Listen. Nah.
I'm in love. I'm about to change my last name.
Not as much shit as I'm talking about my last name. Listen, my last name is a whole hashtag.
My Lord.
I'm just saying. Shut up, Mike.
She said, just say absolutely. That's not gonna work out. But whatever. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the reason why we kind of went through this rabbit hole is that this is how some conversations actually go. Like, we have thoughts and beliefs, and like, this is what I'm going to do. But if we had to explain it, it's like, oh shit. Well, I mean, I guess I could go this way, but no, I'm gonna go this way. This is what I believe. This is what I've been taught. This is what feels best for me. This is what everybody around me is going to accept. And so, yeah, that's silly. But some situations and circumstances, it gets just to that. Like, how did you come up with this? Or why is this something that you're going to do? Or why do you stand by it? Now, there are some that are able to express themselves very well, like my friend here. Even if he doesn't know, you're not going to know that he doesn't know. He's going to explain until you think
he knows.
And then there's the rest of us who might tap out and just be like, you know what, I don't know, or give me a minute.
So last variation of the scenario, and I'm not even really being real facetious here, but it's just juxtaposed to something else.
Okay.
If his answer was because you always said you didn't want to lose yourself when you got married, right? Mm-hmm. And so that feeling of women when they join their life with someone else, I don't want to lose myself. That's why some even hyphenate. So he's like, if you feel like you're gonna lose yourself, then keep your name. I'll take your name, so you don't feel like being tied with me validates you. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you know, we're the Hannons now, apostrophe after the S. So now this is you. Everything else, you got to erase that, you know, leave and cleave and all that other madness. So maybe it's if it's a gesture as to keeping your identity that you had before marriage. Like you're still who you are. You just happen to be married to me. Like, what if
Yeah.
that was the
And
rationale?
you can do that, or she can keep her name or the hyphenation. I don't see where he has to take
I
her
don't
name.
either, but I'm just, but yeah,
But
I
yes,
don't,
all
yeah,
of that.
yeah, it's,
Nice gesture. Nice gesture.
yeah. So, for those who came in on the middle of that conversation, no, I would never, nor will no one I know,
Yeah, we couldn't even explain that one even on the episode. Like,
including but
I
not
don't
limited
know.
to hashtag boo.
I'm not even gonna bring that up to him because he would be like, "What?"
What?
Right.
If he responds to it at all.
If he responds to it at all. So that was a business of love. It started by talking about the hyphenation of names, and if a woman is really committed, if she hyphenates her name, which one really doesn't have anything to do with the other. Not in all cases.
Mhm.
For some, maybe it could be argued that you're not all the way in, but we don't want to make that a general statement. But we talked through that, and then talked about marriage as a business, like what you sacrifice, the understanding that you have and that your partner has, and the work that it takes to make that situation and that relationship grow over time. Like you
Mhm.
were talking, I don't think I responded to it about, you are never the same person that you are, forever. You're going to continue to evolve and change. And I don't know if it was you or someone else I was talking to that that talked about having like your marriage license renewed, like you have your driver's license renewed.
Mhm.
Like everybody, is not in for the 30, 40, 50 plus years. Some people might need to tap out or get yanked out, get their privileges suspended if they're not willing to undergo the training or get behind the
Mhm.
wheel again or whatever it takes to say that you're
Mhm.
still prepared for marriage. And maybe it's not necessarily losing your license, but maybe it's as you grow and go, you are getting a different level of counseling, or there's certain subject matter that you're now to, like when you go from being uh, married solely to being married parents, right?
Mhm.
That's a transition. Or, when you start to lose parents or
Mhm.
family members, that changes you. What
Mhm.
goes on in your professional life? Like, are we equipped for that? I'm getting ready to start premarital counseling, but I wonder, like, do you go through all of that? And can you even remember all of that as you're going through it? Or
Right.
is it something that you need to continue to revisit or visit as
Yeah.
you get there?
I think you should definitely revisit. I saw Raquel's comment saying team hyphenate. I'm wondering what's the difference. Like, why hyphenate? You know what I mean? Um, I'm personally not on team hyphenate. Um, I'm like, hey, if you coming over here, especially with the expectations you coming
You
with,
coming over here. Oh, you
if you
not going over there?
nah, like, mm-mm. If I'm supposed to cover this family, I'm finna cover this family with my name too. You know what I'm
Yeah. I
saying?
mean, I'm the
Everybody in this family got the same last name because my kids ain't hyphenating.
right. And then there's another discussion, right? You want to hyphenate, I'm going to be singular. Then what happens to the kids? You don't want the kids to
Mhm.
hyphenate? Are we all hyphenated? Like what does that
Because I wonder why, and I'm like, whatever the woman's choice is, or they agree upon, I just wonder what the logic is of hyphenating, like why, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Raquel, if you're still here and willing to
Mhm.
expound, like what makes you team hyphenate, or anyone that is your preference, or you would like it to be when you get married. What are some reasons
Mhm.
why?
Most
We'd love
definitely.
to
So,
know. And then our final two episodes for April were around mental health and relationships, and we had a very special guest, Stevon Lewis, who
Stevie
is
Lou.
your frat brother and my
And
parallel. And yeah, shout out to Spring oh 01.
shout out
Uh,
to the Noops.
Shout out to the Noops. And we had a very, very good conversation or set of conversations different scenarios that we went through. But we
Mhm.
also talked about imposter syndrome, which is his area of practice, but he's also licensed in marriage and family therapy. So we talked about some relationship stuff too.
Mhm.
So if you didn't watch those episodes, please do. And because we're all friends with, another 20-year plus uh,
Mhm.
friendship, it just was
Yeah, it got
a lot of fun.
yeah, it got a lot of fun, and he's super insightful.
Yes.
And he was a resident therapist on what was the name of the show
Love goals.
he was a resident therapist on Love Goals. So that was excellent, and just to really get his insight from his practice, from his experience, um was real interesting. Like Dre said, we talked about imposter syndrome, we talked about messages and meta messages,
Mm.
we talked about prenuptial agreements, like we talked about it. It was a whole gambit of different things. So yeah, check that out, because it was definitely a powerful 2 episodes. We did a part 1 and a part 2 of that. And just mental health in general is super important, but
It's May, Mental Health Month.
yeah, it's a mental health month. There's always an awareness month going. I can't keep up no more.
Yeah. And
Um,
then they start being multiple ones. It's like it's Mental Health Month and Minority Mental Health Month and Men's
yeah,
Mental Health Month. And I'm like, are they
right,
all the same? I got to look them up.
right. And Black
But
Pepper Dispenser Bacteria Awareness Month. We just uh, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. So
yes,
shout
we
out.
got nurses coming up, or maybe, oh, shout
No, I
out to
think it's
Raquel, who was a nurse. We appreciate you.
I think that's this week, or is today
Yeah,
Nurses
I think we're
Day?
in this in
Yeah, yeah.
for
So shout
nurses.
out to all the nurses, especially with the Rona out there.
Yeah, man.
Um, yeah, it was Assistant Principals Week couple of weeks ago, so I think I got a pack of cookies or something.
Oh, shout out. Those
Yep.
of you that work with the children,
Listen,
God bless.
as we call them, sweet baby angels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Sweet baby angel.
They
Well,
question my.
nobody wanted to talk about hyphenation.
Oh
It's
yeah,
quiet.
they got silent on the
It's
hyphenation.
the comments got parched. They're a little dry. They're a little dry.
I can.
Yeah. So I mean, we kind of talked through all of the episodes. We didn't really touch on any kind of current events, if you will. And I don't want us to stay on forever, but of course, I cannot not mention the loss of DMX, and then that was followed by the loss of Black Rob, and then Shock G just like a
Mhm.
week and some change ago, and
Yep.
we were talking about that together,
Mhm.
like
Right.
shit.
Yeah, they say it comes in threes, but
Yeah.
it's sad to just the way that it went down. And addiction is very real, you
Mhm.
know. Just piggybacking off of mental health, and we know that he had a problem with addiction for years. Um, and I just that clip when he was talking with Ayala Benzat, I can't say her name for nothing. I always mess her name up.
E Yanla. The
Iyanla,
rest of it you
whatever.
had is just the E, not
Yeah,
I.
Iyanla, whatever. I was never
Hmm.
a fan, but
You get
but
it.
she asked him straight out, like, "Do you have a drug problem?" And he said, "I'll always have a drug problem." You know, he said, he doesn't, do cocaine or crack regularly, but he said, but sometimes he slipped, but he was, smoke weed. But you hear him talking, you can hear it in his speech pattern and the voice, and um, that type of thing. But yeah, it's just always it was just sad to see somebody that just had such an impact on the culture, on hip hop itself. I remember that first album, that is Dark and Hell is Hot.
Yeah, man.
You know, even though he has some questionable, not even questionable, he has some fucked up lyrics, like on that,
Lyrics, yes, yes.
like
We
on
were
that
talking about that the other day. I was like,
that
oh, I hope they don't
song.
play this one during the tribute.
Yeah, that one called X is coming. That
Yeah,
1, 2, X is coming for you. That was some of the darkest shit ever.
yeah,
Like coming into house and I'm not even gonna
yeah.
repeat what he
I know
said,
that's the
but
exact one. Yeah, don't get us canceled. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm like,
no, very,
damn,
very
that's
sad.
yeah.
Very
Um,
sad.
and then Shock G, I heard, but I can't confirm that his death was also drug related. That's just speculation or rumor. I cannot confirm that at all. I hope that's not the case. Death by any means is sad, but I certainly hope that that's not the case. And then Black Rob was ill. Just seeing that video clip of Black Rob was heartbreaking as well.
It
You know,
was. And that was
so
like just like a week before or something, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
it's only like 7 days. And so, yes, these are celebrities. And of course, they've impacted our lives and our emotions because we can remember where we were when we first heard a song or we went to a concert or all of those things. But beyond that, and that was really big, especially because I'm a big DMX fan. Beyond that, it made me think about like everyday people, the people in our families, our friends, like that are struggling. Some that you know, some that
mhm,
you don't know. And it just goes to show that money, fame, like all of the things that you might think, like, oh, shoot, they got it, they good. And a supreme struggle. Like, I don't know what I was watching. It was an interview, but I don't know which one, where or maybe it was it Tashira? Somebody said either it was himself or somebody was speaking about him going on these drug binges to quiet the noise and to get away.
mm,
Like I needed things to slow down, shut down. I needed time to myself. Like imagine the only way that you felt you could escape into, silence or having time alone is to literally destroy yourself. And
mm,
that was just like, damn.
right.
So
And not even know that you're destroying yourself. It's just you look up one day and it's like, well, you know what I mean?
right.
Because because I've been catching up on watching Snowfall, right? I've been binging it, but just looking at the whole crack epidemic play out in dramatic form, that's what it is. Like you try it once, and then all of a sudden
Man,
you wake up one day. Or matter of fact, there was a movie a long time about Earl the Gold Manigault, basketball
my
player.
movie. Shout out to
Uh,
Don Cheadle.
yeah, it's a rebound. So you remember that part when they was trying to get him clean and he didn't even know what year it was.
Yeah,
He didn't say what day is it. He was like, what year?
1 year. Yeah.
You wake up and just out of this addiction, and years of your life are gone. And it doesn't even have to be, and that's just in life in general, thinking about decisions we make or lifestyles that we lead. It doesn't necessarily have to be drug related, but sometimes when we decide to get our mind right in certain areas, how many years have passed
Mm,
before and we think about the life that we could have had or been, and love as well. Like some people are addicted to pain and trauma because we allow it to run so much of our life, and then once we come out of it, it's like whoa, you know so um yeah, it's a lot to unpack. It's truly a lot to unpack.
absolutely. Well, we did get some comments regarding hyphenation, so we'll
Mhm.
review these, and then if you have any other questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat as we turn to wrap up. So Nicole said, being a child with a different father from your other siblings and being the only child from that union, I kept my father's last only, not my husband's last name. And I think we talked about this a little on the episode because I didn't get that deep into my life, but that's my exact situation.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm the firstborn, period, but to both of my parents, or firstborn to both of my parents, and then the only child to their union.
Mhm.
Uh, and my question to Bars or just generally to the listeners was, and I'm not against this, so please don't be offended, but what does that do for his name for me to keep it or hyphenate it? Like when I go, it's gone because my dad also has another child, but she's a daughter as well. So whether we both keep it or whether we both scrap it, it 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 ends with us unless we then pass it on to our children, in which case with the husband you would then have to kind of figure that out. So and we did talk about that in the episode, and I was just like, I mean, and I love my daddy, come on. Um, but if that was my rationale, I was just like, well, it's gonna be lost with me anyway. And we assume if things go in order, he'll pass first, and then I have X amount of years, whatever, after him. But eventually,
Mhm.
it's still gone.
Right. And then
Yeah.
that's the traditionalism conversation as well, because we have a lot of women. Hey, I'm traditional, but I'm keeping my name. I'm old school, but I'm keeping my, And I'm not to say that Nicole is saying that. Um, I just think that there's a lot of nuances, and if that's something that is a deal breaker for you, it's definitely a conversation that you need to have early on. When you begin to start caring for someone,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, this is my belief, this is my, because no one can make someone do something. But I think saying it later is one of the equivalents of, because a man can't make you do anything, but I feel like it can also be robbing him of a choice if that conversation is not had early on. Because hey, now I've fallen in love with you, I've proposed to you, and now you're telling me you don't want to take my name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that can cause complications or even cancel some weddings. So I think those desires and beliefs those conversations need to be had very early on. Most conversations need to be had early on.
And I think
So
another thing we asked during the episode was about let's taking it back to the dads. Like, as a provided he's still alive, because some people will do it because their dad has passed and they want that piece of him still with them. I understand that. But provided your dad is alive and well, and fathers, maybe you can speak to this too. Like, would you encourage your daughter to, like, no, like, go on and be great with your new last
mhm,
name and family and all of that? Or, would you feel some kind of way? Is that like honor, like, oh, my baby wants to stay with me, or, keep my name? Or is it more like, because presumably you're somebody's husband whose wife changed their name. So it's
mhm,
like, you get it on one end, but don't on the other. So I just wondered how fathers may feel about that, and if they encourage their daughters, like, no, you don't have to do it, if that's something that they feel is something that they need to do for their dad, if the
mhm,
dad would, kind of absolve them of that, like, no, it's cool.
mhm,
And then Raquel said, because of her son, so that's a tie,
mhm,
um, that's there
mhm.
already,
Got
which
you.
I get that.
My lip looks so swollen. I can't. I hate looking at it right now.
Males are even taking hyphenated names now. Maurice Jones Drew started the trend. Is that somebody y'all know?
He's a football player.
Oh, it's like, is that somebody?
You probably wouldn't care because he was a Bruin.
My mom gets on me all the time. She's like, I know, look, it's basketball or college football and Trojan football
All
for
right.
me.
Well, you did. I mean, he went to UCLA, so
Yeah, I don't know anybody. My mom is always on me like, you got to get it together before you get married. I'm like, I'm glad that wasn't a prerequisite to get a ring, because I would have been in trouble.
right.
Um, Names may die, the blood lives on. Absolutely, absolutely, and the memories of the people that you honor, right?
Mhm,
And sometimes we see middle names of the children, maybe family members. Like, there are different ways to show that love, and for their name to
mhm,
continue on. Nicole, my father legacy ends with me. However, my children all have their father's name. Yeah, that's
mhm,
what assuming that was how that went. It's like, okay,
mhm.
well, I keep it,
Yeah. And
but
but
then what
names,
happens
yeah,
after me?
names are important because like you want greatness tied to your name. Like I found out Champ Bailey, who's also a football player, but one of the best defensive backs, ever, like Hall of Fame defensive back,
Okay.
is my cousin,
Oh,
you
come
know. And I found that out for Cut and D.
on. Okay.
Yeah, they're first cousins, because Cut and D is my second cousin, but they're first
Okay.
cousins. She was like, yeah, we grew up together, went to UGA, because my family's from folks in Georgia or whatever. But his mom was a Hannons. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I wouldn't had I not met her, and I would never have known because we're not connected by name. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, that's one of those things. And so it's like you want that probably like, yeah, he ahead us, but like he's not because he's a Bailey, but he's still my blood, you know.
That's right.
Um, so yeah, I think it's super important. And, you know, that's just it's one of those things, you know, if you want your name, like you gotta have sons that
Mm-hmm.
are gonna carry on your name. And I was about to say something that it was not PC. So
Yeah, yeah. Put it in the
well,
chat.
well then it there.
Barzini likes to dance on the line all the time. I'll be like, pull it
ever
back, pull
ever
it back.
dance with the devil by the pale moonlight?
My goodness. So,
Well, y'all.
anything else that you want to share with the people before we wrap up?
Y'all stop being scared to to join us. We do these lives.
Uh-oh. He was about to tell y'all off and he got kicked off the you got kicked off the mainstream. He's still going over on Instagram. So we'll wait for him to log back in. But I believe the sentiment was, we really encourage you to interact with us. Like, again, we do pre-recorded episodes and we launch every week with those on your favorite podcast platforms as well as on
And then when you
YouTube.
know they come in, and
Oh,
so I'm just messing with
I was
you.
like, oh, I was like, oh, he don't know. He been the cord's been pulled, sir.
Nah, I'm messing with you.
But yeah, I was just explaining to them. Yeah, should have just told the joke. Yeah, we pre-record, and that's definitely us talking to each other and or a guest. And those episodes go up every Thursday, midnight Pacific. But once a month, we come here really to talk to you and find out what things are going on in your lives and get your feedback to the topics that we have discussed, but also the topics that you want to see and hear. So in our
Mhm.
entrepreneurial endeavors, especially for me, I focus on building business owners. And the first thing that I talk to them about, like, who is your ideal client? Where's your target market? And so we want to make sure that we are addressing the needs of our target. That's you. So we appreciate you. Uh-oh. Blue say,
Mhm.
my daughter
Mhm.
should take her husband's name, but my name will live through my son. Okay, I was like, oh Lord, I hope this don't swing a different direction.
Nah, that's David Hannon's son right there.
Okay, I was like, oh, what's this about to be? I love
Uh,
it. I love it. Oh,
so,
okay. Look, we got something before we leave. What are your thoughts on men if they don't name their sons after them? I mean, maybe they don't
okay,
like that name.
are we talking first name or are we talking about? I assume we're talking last name.
I,
Um,
I thought you meant like your full name, like Jason Hannon Jr.
let's just tell the whole world my real name. Not for I'm just playing. Like they don't already know. Um,
Well, that
I,
wouldn't be your name. That would be the son's name.
yeah, Junior. You know what? If I named him after me,
Little Junior.
I always wanted to do the second. I wouldn't do Junior.
Uh-huh.
We just never really liked Junior. Like, so my brother is named after my father.
Uh-huh.
But my daddy didn't like Junior, so he gave him a different middle name.
Ah,
So you see right here, you see him as Deshaun.
I
But his
didn't
first,
know that.
yeah, his first name is
Oh,
David. Yeah, and most of the world does it. One, because I always call him Blue.
yeah.
And for separation, like you keep saying David, don't nobody know who you're talking about. I must have been, I think I was like 3 or 4 years old before I knew.
Like, who you talking about?
Right? No, because some kid from his school was like yelling for him. He's like, David. And I'm like, his name is Sean. I'm like, who are you talking to? My daddy ain't here. Like, hey, get this guy. He doesn't even know your name.
That's funny.
Right. So hell, I barely knew my name. Um, no, like, okay, so I love my brother, but he's evil. Him and my dad played a prank on me. Um, and because when you grow up the youngest, you believe everything they say.
Uh-huh.
And my dad told me my name wasn't Jason, and
Oh,
he told me my name was Joshua. And my brother corroborated the story, and I believed them.
Oh.
And I started telling everybody, like, I would get mad. I'm ready to fight. Stop calling me Jason. That's not my name. My name is Joshua. I was at school, everything like I'm getting in trouble in class because I'm not answering by my name. No, it took a while. My dad had to sit me down. It was like, boy, your name ain't no damn Joshua.
I was just playing with you.
I'm like, you can't do that to a kid. I was super impressionable. Look at
Look
my
at
brother. That shit was not funny, man.
I'm sorry.
Listen, I'm a grown ass man, and they tease my ass about that to this day. Yeah, they told me my name was Josh.
Poor baby.
They did. Listen, they did evil things to me when I was young.
So do you have so your thought is not really?
I mean,
it's your name to give or no?
It's your name. Yeah, I mean, if as a man you decide that you don't want to give your son your name, I would wonder, like the other conversation, I would wonder why. I'm going, if assuming that we're talking about like first names. That's
yeah. No, she said juniors. Yeah. That was the clarification. Juniors.
Oh, if you don't want to, not a big deal. Not a big deal. I think it's like,
yeah. I think the assumption of
maybe it's an identity thing.
Like, oh, he would give his firstborn son or a son his name, but all men don't feel that way.
But I think also it's hard to escape the shadow, especially if your father has a great name or if your father has a fucked up name,
like LeBron James Jr. LeBron.
Like, you gotta feel those shoes. Some are up for the task, some are like, oof, you know what I mean? Really, we just gonna tell all the family shit now.
Uh-oh. I was gonna say, I feel like this has a story, but
it does. It does. So yeah, I was a very creative child that didn't have a whole lot of toys. What I did have were a bunch of pencils and pens and markers, and marbles. And so I didn't have action figures and shit like that. So they were my action figures. And I'd be in there like, nigga, everything was a person. And so I had a big oatmeal canister full of marbles. And I named each and every one of them.
Oh, wow.
Individually.
Shout out to that's why your memory is so crazy.
Yeah. And you couldn't trick me. He'll be like, what's this one? I'm like, that's Blue Lightning, that's Blue Thunder, that's Green Lightning, that's this, whatever the fuck the name was. And he'll try to hold up the same one because it looks similar. Like, no, nigga, you can't trick me. I told you that's Blue Thunder.
I love it.
Because I knew the ones that had the chips in them, and just like, I knew my marbles. That way you couldn't take them and talk about that. Like, nope, I know my marbles.
I know my marbles.
Right. I didn't have to go outside to play. I was thoroughly entertained by myself. Like, my brother would walk through the room like, you don't want to go play outside? Nope. I'm fine.
I'm good.
Yeah. So
I'm good.
Look at all right, we're not gonna do this tonight.
Oh, you got more stories?
He said I needed. I had friends. They were my marbles. Thank you.
There you go. Okay, well, before we wrap up, let's do a shout out to our sponsors.
As always, shout out to our sponsors. Our faithful sponsor, the House of 334.
It's the house.
It's the house. So for all your branding and copyright business needs, contact houseof334.com. And also Carbon 12 Clothing. That's Carbon 12 without the vowels, CRBNTWLV.com. Check them out. I keep saying I'm gonna wear the Black Madonna on the air. I'll wear it next show. Remind me, I gotta wear Black Madonna. So check that out. Houseof334.com and Carbon12.com, our faithful sponsors. And if you have businesses that you want promoted on the show, give us a call or send us an email at crossroadspodcast@gmail.com. Don't call us because I'm not going to.
I was going to say, if you can call that email, go ahead and make it happen.
I won't call them an email, but some folks got my number, but don't be calling me about that. Send us an email at crossroadspodcast@gmail.com. And tell us about your business and we will discuss the particulars. All right. And especially if you're a Black business, You know,
Yes.
we love our
Yes.
Black businesses. All
Yeah,
businesses
I like
welcome,
that.
but we definitely want to support our Black business. So
Thank you,
with
Blue.
that,
We love
y'all,
you too.
we love you too.
I saw the July 4th discussion happening. I've heard about these shindigs for years. I've never been to one. So
Well, thou shalt have to partake, because
yeah, I got a mask. I can come.
that's usually my annual trip to LA.
I
But
know.
y'all, it's been great. So until next time, I'm your man, Hunter Greg, your personal agent for change, making life easy, Barzini.
And I'm fempreneur extraordinaire, tech diva all day, Dre Renee.
And this is the Crossroads. And in closing, always remember,
Be
be
free
free
to
to
be
be
you.
you. Holla at y'all
Take
next
care,
time.
guys.